Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sun Belt Conference Football Coaches Media Teleconference. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. We are now joined with Shawn, the head coach of App State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us with an opening statement?
Yeah, again, big win versus Georgia State down in Atlanta this past weekend. Very proud of our team. I thought we played some clean football in the second half. I think the biggest thing for us was we had no pre-snap penalties on offense and 0 turnovers, and we were 56% on third down. On defense, we caused 3 turnovers, and our special teams was solid. And we're happy we got another win, and we turn all our attention to Lafayette for a Tuesday night game down there.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. Again, our members media is *1 to get in the queue. First questions come from Sam with the Sun Belt Digital Network. Please go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Coach Clark. Heading into a pivotal stretch of the schedule, how do you use this bye week or long week, depending on how you look at it, with the Tuesday night game to prepare for Louisiana?
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday as a staff. We actually don't have a bye week this year for our program, but we have 2 long week this week. So yesterday we brought them in and had a great workout and a little practice yesterday. We gave them off today, then we're going to go Tuesday, Wednesday of this week and have a short practice on Thursday and get into our regular game week. So we've had this kind of plan for all summer long to know what we had to get done to be successful. And, just looking forward to a great game with Louisiana down there. And Coach Napier has his team playing at a high level. I mean, you look at their team, all 3 phases. I mean, there's not many weak spots. There's no weak spots in any of those phases. So it's going to be a great game, something we look forward to on national TV in order to put our program on a national stage.
Follow up to that, Coach. You guys have appeared on national television quite a bit for your program. What do those appearances on national television mean for you guys at App State, and what does that bring to that game on Tuesday night?
Well, I think it's great for our conference. Anytime you can put the Sun Belt on ESPN or one of their networks, I think it's huge for our program. We play a tough non-conference schedule and be an AAC team and a Conference USA team on national TV, and that's big. And anytime we can put our program on a national stage, it helps with recruiting, and especially with a big matchup versus Louisiana. I mean, it's just those are big games, from the East and from the West, and last 3 or 4 years, that's been the game. So something we look forward to. It's going to be a tough battle. It's a tough environment to play in down there. And again, there's not a good thing to say about Coach Napier and how he runs his program. He's first class in everything he does.
Last one for you, Coach. Having a player like DeMarco Jackson, he's had over 40 starts for your program. What does that do for your defensive unit this year? Obviously, he's been one of the leading tacklers in the Sun Belt this year.
Yeah, he's been one of the leading tacklers in the Sun Belt and in the country. I mean, you sit there and watch his production points, and we call them havoc rates as far as tackles for loss and sacks. And he's playing at a high level right now. I think that goes to the way he prepares. And, I can't brag enough about DeMarco. He's a kid that's working on his master's program in business. Our College of Business is a tough program here at App, and he's in the building all the time watching tape and studying. And it's not a surprise he's playing so well. He loves to play the game. He plays it the right way, and he represents our program the very best he can do.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sam. And thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. If everyone stand by, we'll be back with Jamey Chadwell of Coastal Carolina here shortly. Please stand by. Thank you for holding, everybody. We are now joined with Jamey Chadwell, the head coach of Coastal Carolina. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be on again. Really pleased with our team. After looking at the video, obviously I thought we played well in all 3 phases. Saturday, pleased the way we came out and played. Short week here, so quick turnaround. It's hard to win on the road in this league. We've never won in Jonesboro. We're 0-2, so we've got a great opponent that we're playing, a big opportunity for us. And the first time we've had a quick turnaround like this, so we got to make sure that we're ready to focus on that and go up there and be able to execute at a high level. But looking forward to traveling up there and competing on national television.
Thank you, Coach. Just a reminder to our members of the media to star one to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Jeff Reed with A-State Nation. Please go ahead, Jeff.
Good morning, Coach. What has you seen? Arkansas State's apparently is struggling and is not the program that it once was. What do you see as the biggest difference between the Red Wolves now than what they were when you first came into the league?
Well, to be honest with you, I've not paid much attention, to that. I do know they still got good players. I know they've got a good system scheme in place, and they've got good support. So I think anytime you transition to a new coach, I went through this when you're trying to put your culture in. There's a change there sometimes, and there's growing pains with that. And I'm sure with Coach Jones, they're going through a little bit of that, just trying to make sure they establish what he wants. But when I turn the video on, I still see good players. I still see team playing hard and playing with effort, and wanting to win and expecting to win. So I think that's how it's been there for a long time.
Jeff, you have a follow-up?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Our next questions come from Sam with our Sunbelt Digital Network. Please go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Coach Chadwell.
Hi, Sam.
Your quarterback, Grayson McCall, is 13 for 13 passing this week. He's the national leader in passing efficiency by a decent margin right now. How does he make your offense tick on a week-to-week basis?
Well, I think the thing that he does is one that he gets us in the right place, and so we're always we feel like in a good position to execute at a high level because he gets us in a good play. And then two, he knows what to do with the football. I think any time that you're leading in efficiency, that means you have a good understanding of what you're doing and where you should go with the football there. And so, our team has confidence that he's going to put us in the right play or the check or whatever it may be. And then also, wherever the ball should go, typically he puts it to that position. And so I think everybody has an opportunity to catch it because they know he's going to go through his reads and those things. So he's from last year to this year, he's continued to improve, and I think that's the biggest improvement is just really understanding where to go with the ball in each and every situation.
Then looking back to last week, you got to see a lot of players last week against ULM Monroe the last 2 weeks. But how does getting those guys some reps in a conference game prepare them for any potential action they would see down the stretch?
Well, I think it's important. One of the things that you always worry about is your depth. When you lose somebody that's a starter or a key contributor, who do you have behind them, and what's the experience they get? And the only way really that they get some of that experience has been able to do it in situations, in game situations. And we had some guys up front, O-line wise, that got quite a bit of playing time, and then we were able to play some younger backs, receivers, tight ends that we're going to need at some point with injuries, with COVID, all the different things that could happen. You got to make sure that you have a plan in place, and those guys getting opportunities to contribute and see where they're at a little bit in game is going to be invaluable for us down the road.
Thank you, Sam. Our next questions come from Alan Blondin with the Myrtle Beach Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Jamey, you're going to about to get asked this in another 20 minutes, but what is the extent of Grayson's injury, and is there any chance whatsoever, based on that injury, that he would not play this upcoming Thursday?
No, he's ready to rock and roll, so everything is good to go, and it was a lower body thing, really just got rolled up, to be honest with you, and one of the tackle piles there got rolled up on his foot, ankle, whatever it was, but he'll be ready to rock and roll.
All right, Jamey, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. If everybody stand by, we'll be back in less than 2 minutes here with Kane Wommack of South Alabama. Please stand by. Okay, we actually have Coach on the line now. We are now joined with Kane Wommack, the head coach of South Alabama. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time, again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with a opening statement?
Yeah, really excited about the direction of our team and where we're going. Obviously, we took our first loss of the season this week against Louisiana and thought that Billy and his staff did a tremendous job, but really pleased with just the way we are starting to play offensively, defensively, special teams. We're doing some good things. We went down 20-0 early in that game, which is obviously a lot of self-inflicted wounds that we created for ourselves. But the way that we were able to respond, and I'll be honest with you, I was probably more pleased coming out of that game than I was the first 3 wins, just because I can see our team getting better and the way that we're able to execute, regardless of success or adversity, to come back in that game and really play some dominant style football for the last 40 minutes was exciting.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, it's *1 to get in the queue. Again, *1 to ask questions. All right, I believe we had him in the queue earlier, but we lost him there. We had Sam, who was trying to get in there. If the operator could bring him back in. All right, I guess we appear to have a little bit of a issue there. Sam's line is open. Sam, you may go ahead.
Thanks. Hey, Coach. What did you say to
you
at halftime? You mentioned you going down 20-0. Obviously scored a little before the half, and then had the great second half. What did you say to your guys in the locker room coming into the second half this week?
Well, we talked about what was really great, and I think this our offense was able to score and put a really nice drive together right before halftime. And then, obviously our defense really started settling down at the beginning of the second quarter. So we were starting to play some good football already, and as bad as we played, there it is, 20-6 against a very good Louisiana team, and we're getting the ball first in the second half. So for us, we talk about all the time in our program operating with a neutral mindset. That means executing your job at a high level, but regardless of success, right, or adversity, just doing that same high-level job over and over and over again. And that showed up in every single game that we've played to this point, and that's really exciting that our culture is starting to set in. I thought this was probably the most tremendous test of seeing those guys in the locker room at halftime, knowing full well that they can play better ball, and then going out and executing at a high level and giving ourselves an opportunity to win numerous times in the game. That's exciting to see.
And then, Coach, how did that translate after the game? Obviously a close loss to a really tough Louisiana squad, but had multiple opportunities there at the end to potentially tie it or win the game. So can you just talk about kind of the feeling after the game? You mentioned being, more satisfied with this performance than possibly the previous 3 victories.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I'm a very process-driven person, and our program's very process-driven, and just in terms of how we're going about things. We still got to understand this is year 1 of our program. There are things, we were going against a great and well-coached team in Louisiana, but Billy's 3 years in advance. I mean, right now, he's all of the things that he's doing, recruiting-wise, the culture that he's built, the offense and defensive schemes. That's a team that's been established for going on 4 years now. And so for us, just learning to learn how to win football games. And we certainly gave ourselves the opportunities to win the football game. We didn't win it at the end. But when you're playing winning football like that, eventually the outcome is going to be reflective of the way you're playing.
Last one for me, Coach. You've got Texas State coming up this week. They're coming off a bye week. How do you prepare knowing that they've had that little extra time to get prepared for this game?
Yeah, that's always it's always a tricky thing, especially when on the front end of the season, when you have a bye week. We just went through that last week, and we obviously did not handle it very well. I mean, we gave up 20 points basically in the first quarter of a game, and then once we settled in, obviously we played tremendous football after that. So it's a challenge in some ways. Other ways I think it's great to get your guys rested up. So I go back and forth on how I feel about bye weeks. But in some ways, it was great for us to get our guys back. But at the same time, going back in and playing at a high level, there's no exception to playing games, right? Practice is great. All the different things that you can do in scrimmages and all that stuff. But at the end of the game, it's about end of the day, it's about playing the game of football over and over and over again. And when you take a week off, sometimes it takes a little bit to get back. So I'm sure they'll get some guys back and bodies healthy and all that stuff. I think the challenge for them, just like we went through last week, is to operate at a very high level coming out of the gate.
All right. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Everyone can stand by. We'll be back with Jake Spavital of Texas State here shortly at 10:51 Central Time. Please stand by. And thank you for holding, everybody. We are now joined with Jake Spavital, head coach of Texas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, coming off a really great bye week, came at a perfect time for us, allowed us to really kind of do some self-scout, reassess the situation that we're currently in, and get healthy. We ended up getting about 15 kids back this week, so we're pretty excited just to kind of get back to some depth and being able to practice pretty clean right now. But like I said, the bye week came at a good time. It gave us an opportunity to reassess the situation that we're at and kind of have a lot of one-on-one discussions, a lot of self-scout stuff, and just make sure that we're putting our kids in the right position to at least have success. And we also had 3 practices this past week, and there was a lot of good energy. The kids are in a good spot. I think they're excited to get majority of the team back, and they're excited to move forward with conference play. You got a South Alabama team coming in that I think is playing at a very high level. I think Coach Wommack does a really great job. And then you can see that there's a spark there at that university, and they're playing at a high level. Unfortunate loss for them last week. They should be sitting here 4-0 coming into Bobcat Stadium here this Saturday. But we got a quality opponent and looking forward to a great challenge and just being back at home and then start conference play. So questions, please.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Sam with the Sunbelt Digital Network. Please go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Coach. You had a 1-3 in the non-conference, somewhat banged up in the last 2 games, as you mentioned. How did this bye week help you just kind of reset with the team for the start of conference play?
Yeah, it came at a great time. This is the first time I've ever really had where we truly needed a bye week, just to get us back to healthy, just to get back to health. To kind of not full strength, but like I'm telling you, when you're out 21 to 25 players in 2 games, and and you're working your way through situations, and it's just good to get depth back. We actually got to go 1s and 2s instead of just going 1s, over the past 2 weeks. But it was also good to just have some one-on-one conversations. Try to figure out why, what's the difference between the first 2 games of the season to the last 2 games of the season that we've had so far. And just to kind of work over through mental blocks or just anything about, playing too uptight or just, need to start having a little bit more fun with the game, and not putting too much pressure on us to make a play or just, just that whole coaching cliche of just, hey, one play at a time is so true with our team right now. We just need to worry about doing our job one play at a time. The rest will take care of itself. So bye week's been great to address these situations, kind of get the mood back and kind of get back to health. So it's been a very productive bye week for us.
And then looking ahead to this week, what did you see out of South Alabama in that close loss to Louisiana this past weekend?
Yeah, pretty crazy game to watch. I followed it on Saturday and then watching it more in detail over the last 2 days. It's been pretty crazy to watch that game. They go down 20-0 and then they work their way back to go to 2018. And there was some unfortunate, they missed, they had 2 field goal PATs, 1 blocked and 1 missed, and then they missed a field goal at the end. They also had a turnover on downs, which was a great play called down inside the 5-yard line on a 4th down and 1. That could have been a touchdown as well. The ball just didn't bounce their way. I think they're playing extremely hard. I think they're confident in what they're doing. They're very sound in what they do. And It's going to be a tough challenge. It just, you sit there and you hurt for them because, they're in that game to win, and they just didn't have the ball bounce their way in that fourth quarter.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Sam, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
All right, appreciate it, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Remember, could stand by. We'll be back with Georgia Southern interim head coach Kevin Whitley. Please stand by. Thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Georgia Southern interim head coach Kevin Whitley. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yes. First of all, thank you guys for having me. We're excited about the direction we're going. Guys played hard last week, and now the key is just to keep that intensity and get ready for a very good team this week. We'll be on the road, so we're going to have to bring our own energy and just play at a high level.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, that's *1 to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Sam with the Sunbelt Digital Network. Please go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Coach.
Hello.
You guys out this week in your rush for 500 yards, over 500 yards against Arkansas State. Can you talk about the importance of that identity for your program at Georgia Southern?
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you can run the ball, I think it gives you opportunity to control the game. And so one of the things we definitely want to do is we want to be physical up front and, give ourselves a chance not only to control the game but control the clock. And so our guys did a really good job last week of blocking. Running back did a great job hitting the holes downhill and making guys miss on the second level. So that's definitely something we'd like to do. Our guys did a really good job with that.
And then looking ahead to this week, how do you think that'll translate against a Troy defense that's among the top in the country, allowing less than 100 yards per game on the ground right now?
No doubt. I think it will give us a little confidence going into the game. The one thing, like you mentioned, that Troy is really good on defense, really good against the run, so we'll definitely have a major challenge for us. But again, hopefully that will give us some confidence, and hopefully we can just get better. Like I said, it's going to be a very difficult task. We just got to come out and play Georgia Southern football.
And then you talked a little about controlling the clock, controlling possession. You guys had 4 takeaways this week. How did it feel to get over that hump on the defensive side and kind of make some key plays there?
Yeah, definitely. We've been doing a really good job of punching at the ball, stripping the ball. Is one thing we've been stressing in practice, but we just didn't get any to bounce our way. And so, just told guys, once we get one, it'll floodgate, and we were able to get one, and then the next thing, 2 came, 3 came. And so anytime, you want to get some turnovers. That definitely gives you a short field, gives you some momentum. And so that's something that we really stress, and we like to, hopefully get a few more this week. So, any team that get able to create turnovers gives you a great chance to win.
And then can you just talk a little bit about Logan Wright? You're back. He had over 200 yards this past week. Obviously, he had a stable of guys running, but over 200-yard performance, pretty solid effort from him.
No doubt. Logan's one of our key guys. He's a big back, has really good speed. And so, we feel really good about our running back room. We got 3 or 4 guys that we can win. We feel like we can win with. But Logan did an excellent job. Like I said, 200 yards, I think on 10 carries. And so, anytime you can get 10 a clip, 20 a clip, average 20 a clip, that gives you a great chance to win. So, again, we want to feed those guys. They should be able to stay fresh because we got him and J.D. King. And, we got Gerald Green, and we also got Jalen. So we feel good about all those guys. And like I said, if we can keep them fresh, keep giving them opportunities, and the line come off the ball, we feel like we can run the ball.
Thanks, Coach.
That's it. Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you, Sam, and thank you, Coach. That's all the questions we have for you today. I do appreciate your time.
All right, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Remember, we stand by. We'll be back with Butch Jones of Arkansas State here shortly. Please stand by. All All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We will have Butch Jones of Arkansas State on here shortly. Please stand by. Thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Butch Jones, the head coach of Arkansas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 at this time. Again, *1. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with a opening statement?
Sure. Well, I tell you what a great challenge this week. Have a lot of respect for Coastal Carolina and really, what they've done. And it's one thing to build a team. It's another to build a program. And you look at the way they've built that program, and you even look at the commitment of the scheduling of where they're at. This is a senior-dominated football team. You look at their defense, 10 out of 11 returning starters, 7 preseason all-conference players. I believe they're ranked, 16th right now defensively in the country, 7th in the country in scoring defense. Big, physical, aggressive, and it's a football program that knows how to win. They're 16-1 in their last 17 contests. And then offensively, again, 10 returning starters. Really impressed by McCall. Very worthy of being the Sun Belt Player of the Year. 6 preseason all-conference players. All the guys returning the O-line. They're physical. They have a mentality. They're 13-0 in the Sun Belt. I think you look at their last 2 games, they've outscored their opponents 112-9. Very deserving of the national ranking. So when you talk about a challenge, it's a monumental challenge, but also looking forward to the opportunity.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to members of the media, it's *1 to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Jeff Reed with A-State Nation. Please go ahead, Jeff.
Morning, Butch.
Good morning.
Were you aware of some of the roster issues and deficiencies before you took the job at Arkansas State?
Well, I was educated for the most part on the many and vast challenges that we would have. So, I think they did a good job, but you never really know until you really get here and you roll your sleeves up. And I think you continue to learn more and more about your football team and about your football program as, you continue to move towards the different developmental stages of your program. I think you learn the most, obviously, when you get into the season because, everything's completely different from a competitive standpoint. Also seeing what you have in terms that's relative to the conference that you're competing in, learning more about the conference. How does your program handle adversity? Is it equipped to handle adversity? Do they understand pride and performance, playing up to a standard? So there's a lot of things that you continue to learn as you move forward. But I was made aware of it, but you never know until you truly get here. There are no quick fixes. There are no shortcuts. And I think, again, you look at Coastal Carolina, a lot of people just want to build teams. We're here to build a football program, and sometimes that takes time. You look at anything that's built over time, everybody sees instant results. That's what they want. But you look at the App States that have been built over time, the Louisianas, the Coastal Carolinas, even the Alabama football program when Coach got there. I mean, there's so many things, and then you rely on your experiences that we've had at 3 other places. Each place is different, but a lot of similarities that go into it. And I think, the thing is we've done this at 3 other places before. I've been really impressed with our players. There's been no quit. There's been no let up. So, that's been great to see, and I wouldn't expect anything less than that from them. So they've been good on that, on that part. But, as we continue to move forward, we just have to continue to demand, to teach, to develop the young players that we do have in our program and then we just have to recruit at a high level too, and all those things. That's how you build a program. But you know, our players came with a workmanlike attitude yesterday. It was kind of invigorating, and they want to win. It's just, you know, in those moments of a game of learning how to strain the finish plays, and like I told them, everybody wants to win, but football comes down to one-on-one matchups, and it goes, you know, you go to, you know, one guy says, I'm done, and they blink. But, you know, we have a lot of challenges, but we also have a lot of opportunities here as well.
A little quick follow-up. Do you see more and more players getting opportunities, or do you have some of your new guys younger guys that you think might be ready to get an opportunity to see playing time?
Well, you know, everyone to date that, you know, you earn the right to play by your performance in practice. And, you know, we have a lot of younger players and young men that we recruited when we got here that really are starting on to take even more of a significant role and even a leadership role. I mean, one individual is Ethan Hassler, who has really done a good job for us on special teams and continues to grow in that role. Cam Jeffries, a young man that, you know, is really starting to get it and play well for us. You know, we have to continue to develop McKeelan Thomas in the offensive line. You look at what Emmanuel Stevenson has been able to do for us as a true freshman. So we're already playing a lot of true freshmen, but I think the other thing is just, you know, continuing to develop our depth. The other thing I refer to Coastal is you look at their special teams, and very few starters on offense or defense perform on their special teams, and that's a direct indication of having a program, not just a team. But again, we'll continue to grow and develop those young men, and we also have to continue to grow and develop, you know, the current players that are sophomores and juniors in the program too. So, and they all know that, and they've been working exceptionally hard.
Thank you, Jeff. We have time for one more. We'll go to Alan Blonden with the Myrtle Beach Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, Coach. Are both Blackman and Hatcher available for you this week? I guess what do those two guys, what do they provide that's different for you in the offense, and do you look at either one that gives you an advantage against Coastal this week?
Well, I tell you what, yeah, both will be available, and you know, both individuals have similar skill sets, but you know, when you play Coastal, you know, it's a great challenge because they play team defense. They understand their defense. They're always in the right places. They're physical. You know, when you're trying to game plan red zone offense and you have barely any even video to look at. They've not been challenged all year, and rightfully so. You can tell that this is a veteran group. So, you know, our issues are not at the quarterback position at all. You know, it's being able to protect the quarterback and being able to run the football and then be able to catch the ball on a consistent basis as well. But Coastal presents so many challenges for you, just, you know, even from, you know, preparation. And then when you have a short work week, that kind of condenses everything as well.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time. That's all the time we have for you today.
Thank you. Have a great week.
You as well, sir. Moving right along, we're now joined with Terry Bowden, the head coach of ULM. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yes. After the Coastal Carolina game, again, I don't want to take away from the fact I'm still happy we actually have gotten in the win column a couple of times and played and got a winning conference. But after playing Coastal Carolina, who's at the top of the conference, it's clear how far we are from where they are in their program. They just do a great job, and I'm thankful the score wasn't worse because I think they could have beaten us whatever score they had wanted to. So again, we'll make corrections and we'll get better, and we could have played better, but by no means would we have changed the outcome of that game or made it much closer. They were playing that much better than we were. That being said, we still are sitting 2-2, and the only two teams we've lost to are both in the top 15 in America, and we know we're not that. We just didn't. We hope we're a little bit closer, But the fact is we've lost to a very good Kentucky, very good Coastal Carolina, and we're still just trying to crawl before we walk and walk before we run, and that's kind of where we are. Doesn't get much easier. Our conference, Georgia State, their record very deceiving because of who they played. We'd have the same record, I imagine, if we played those teams. And they bring in a team that a lot of experience back, bowl games in the last couple of years, and quarterback back. And they have to look at us as a chance of coming another W on their schedule. So, we just continue to have to try to get better because everybody we play is probably going to be a little better. And so we've got to continue just to be the best version of us we can be. And although we weren't the best version against Coastal Carolina, they sure had a lot to do with it in the way they played.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to members of the media, to star one to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Sam with the Sunbelt Digital Network. Please go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Coach, you won back-to-back games, and then obviously, like you mentioned, ran into a nationally ranked Coastal Carolina squad. But what do you tell your guys this week in order to turn things around and get ready for Georgia State?
Well, first of all, we would say, hey, men, be strong enough and be self-critical enough to look at that game and see where you could play better, where you didn't play your best, or where you made mistakes, where you got beat or this or that. Make sure we correct the problems that we had in ways that we're capable of correcting them, not just getting better players, and then put it behind you. And then the biggest thing is we're going to go out there and coach real hard this week. We're going to go out there and coach them real hard, and we're going to get after them real hard. But by Thursday, I said, man, we still so much to play for. Let's go play this game and learn from that game. And so the biggest thing as a coach, because everybody has to face a loss somewhere along the line, is how you respond to that. And so it's very important. The game this week is a lot more important than that week now that one's over. And so I'm more interested now in getting our guys that same type of confidence they began to get, beating a very good undefeated Jackson State team, beating Troy, and now playing a Georgia State team that's hungry for a victory because they have had a tough schedule.
And, Coach, obviously I'm sure you're hoping to get Rhett Rodriguez back at quarterback this weekend, but you played a couple of different guys this past week. Did you see anything from either of those guys that gives you some confidence heading into Georgia State if you aren't able to get Rhett back?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're kind of uncertain on when Rhett will be totally back. It's not so much that he's got prolonged problems. It's that he's got to heal from what happened as much, and that's the ventilator and a tube down his throat as much as anything. So he's healing and mending, and we'll make that on our time when we feel like he's ready to play. He's out of the hospital and been around. But the other two quarterbacks have played a lot. Chandler Rogers this year has played a lot in our games, and Kobe Suits has played a lot in the past. So we just got to continue to get them a grasp of our offense, continue to find out what they can do so that we can improve on our offense. We didn't get much accomplished against Coastal Carolina. They dominated our offense. It starts with running the football and first downs, but we'll try to find out what we can do well. But our defense has to really respond. Our defense got schooled pretty good against Coastal. Quarterback never missed a pass, the starting quarterback, and they rushed up and down the field. So I think we've got to get back to a confident defense and continue to find the things that we can do well on offense.
All right, thank you, Sam, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. And moving right along, we're now joined with Billy Napier, the head coach of Louisiana. If you have a question for Coach, please dial star one on your phone at this time. Again, star one to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, great trip over to Mobile, Alabama. What a beautiful place, man. I mean, just an incredible city. Great to drive through campus. I mean, they got a great venue over there. I think they're certainly positioned to do well. Kane's done a terrific job there in a short time, and they were very competitive in the game. I want to give our staff some credit. I thought we had our team ready to play. We started fast in the game, 20-0 they're pretty quick and missed a couple field goals in the PAT there. We've got 27 in the first half. Really missed out on some momentum in the second quarter. Gave up one drive there. It was an 11-play drive that had a 3rd and 12 and a 3rd and 13 in that possession. So had some opportunities to get off the field. But, we missed the field goal right there before the half, and all of a sudden it's 20-6, and we're letting them hang around. So started the second half 3-and-out fumble. I gave up a few deep balls, and certainly they controlled the time of possession and the field position in the second half. I think they had it 20 to our 10, and we started on the -16, -10, -12, and -4. So, I think I can coach better. Mismanaged a 4-minute situation there at the end of the game. And in particular, I don't think our team, our offensive skill in particular, handled the conditions very well. So we continue to be a little bit inconsistent. We've got a lot of bright spots on our team, but we've yet to put it all together. So we're still a work in progress, and we're back at work here trying to improve. We don't play until next Tuesday. We've got a couple extra days here to really focus on ourselves before we turn the page to Appalachian State. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Coach. Again, it's star one to our members of the media to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Ron Snyder with News 15. It appears that we lost Ron there. Ron, if you want to hit star one and get back in the queue, or if our operator could actually open up Ron's line, if he's still there. Actually, he appears that he dropped. Going right along, we'll go to Sam with the Sunbelt Digital Network. Sam, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, heading into one of your bigger games left on the schedule, how do you use the bye week or the long week, depending on how you look at it, with the Tuesday night game to prepare for App State?
Well, we get 2 extra days, Certainly we're a little banged up. We have starting kicker out, 4 offensive linemen out for the season. We need it, I think we're going to really focus on the areas of our team where we need to be more consistent. We've got very specific plans for improvement for each individual player, each unit, and certainly all 6 phases of the kicking game. Our players were off Sunday. We're lifting and running and putting to bed the game today. We'll have very fundamental type of practice tomorrow. Then we'll kind of turn the page and begin our prep for apps. So overall, I think it's going to be beneficial for our team. Really got 8 days to prepare instead of 6. So, but it is what it is. We'll get started here in a couple of days.
And then follow up, Coach. You've been on Fox, ESPN, and now you got a game coming up on ESPN2 this season. What does the national television exposure do for you and your program at Louisiana?
Well, it's good for you when you play good. I don't know how good it is for you if you don't play well. So I think it's been beneficial for our football program. I think for our athletic department, the university, and certainly Lafayette and the community of Acadiana. So I think anytime you bring attention, if it's positive, to your program and your athletic department, university, and the community, it's a good thing. Certainly we have an unbelievable place with terrific people and a very unique culture here in Lafayette, Louisiana, and Acadiana. These 7, 8, 9 parishes, that kind of make up this Cajun part of the state. I know we've enjoyed our time here, and certainly when you're representing that, I think it's important, and certainly playing on national TV gives you an opportunity to do that.
All right, thank you, Sam. We are now going to go to Ron Snyder. Ron, please go ahead.
Coach Napier, good morning. how do you guys keep your foot on the pedal? Obviously, you got over the hurdle last year and beat Appalachian State, so obviously it's a new season, but how do you keep the guys just as motivated to say, this is still a formidable team and we have to execute?
Well, I don't think that's going to be a problem. We've got complete respect for App State. Heck, I feel like we played them a dozen times in the first couple of years we've been here. But and it's a lot of the same players, and certainly Shawn has got a terrific staff, and certainly, I think just in general, man, I mean, the tradition, the history, and certainly when you turn on the tape, you can't help but respect the brand of football that they play, the effort, the toughness, the execution. They've got great team speed. A lot of these same players are back, right? So, I mean, we know and have a lot of respect for the staff and the team. So that's not going to be a problem. Our guys will be very motivated, and more importantly, they'll understand that they have to have great preparation so that they can play at a high level, and that's exactly what it's going to take. We're going to have to be hit on all cylinders to even be competitive with this team.
And then you guys are working on being more consistent. Like you said, before you were working on fast starts, and now you're trying to, completely finish the game. So what is the reset process like from quarter to quarter where you guys can have a reset and say, okay, we accomplished this after the first quarter. Here's what we need to do going forward?
Yeah, I think that you're right on it. I mean, I think we played a really good half of football the other night, and then we played a very below average half of football. So, and really when you look at the film, it has a lot to do with ourselves and the things that we're giving them, our lack of execution, our lack of detail or communication, I think that's the big emphasis here, is that we have to sustain that intensity and that energy. We certainly had it in the beginning, but, we come out in the third quarter and don't even look like the same team. So that's coaching. That's my job. And I'm going to work hard to help our team and our staff.
Thank you, Ron. And thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for you today. We do appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And we are now joined with Chip Lindsey, the head coach of Troy. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Thank you guys for being here. Obviously, coming off a tough one at South Carolina, I thought I was proud of how our guys played from the standpoint of we played with some toughness and some. I mean, we were dialed into the game. I thought we had a good plan, and obviously we had an opportunity to win the game, just couldn't quite make enough plays, and some mistakes I think led to that. Obviously the interception before the half was probably a game changer for us. We're in great spot to at least get a field goal and we'll get a pick six, and then we recover. I love the way we came out in the second half and drove the field and cut it back down to a one-score lead, and right there in the game, right in the fourth quarter, when we get the fumble that, they said we didn't recover, and we were driving there. So thought defensively I was really proud of our effort. I thought we matched the physicality when you play, an SEC opponent. That's one of the things you got to do because of the size and so forth of their front on both sides. And I thought our defense really got after their offensive line and their quarterback, and really, man, kept us in the game with scoring. They only scored one touchdown, I think, kicked 2 field goals. So I thought we had a really good defensive effort. Offensively, thought we made some progress, especially in the run game. Was able to, B.J. Smith ran for over 100, which was good to see. Just couldn't quite make enough plays there or overcome our turnovers, I guess, to give us an opportunity. In special teams, we did get a punt block, which defense went out and held them to 3, so that was good to see. But I do think it's something we can build off of, some momentum. Disappointing to lose the game. Obviously felt like we could have won, and with a couple mistakes here or there that we don't make. But I do think it's a good momentum builder for us. I know our guys came out of the game disappointed with that, but all indications from yesterday is they're excited to get back into conference play and get back playing here at home this week. And, this team's resilient. They know we haven't played our best football yet all the way around, so looking forward to getting started back on the field tomorrow, get ready for a Georgia Southern team that's coming off some momentum as well. But getting a chance to play those guys at home, we haven't been at home in 3 weeks, so we're looking forward to playing here back at the Vet. Okay, questions?
Thank you, Coach. Just a reminder to our members of the media to star one to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Sam with the Sunbelt Digital Network. Please go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Coach. Your defense continues to turn in some record-setting performances. What has made this year's unit so special, obviously ranked in a lot of statistical categories on the national level?
Well, I think after year one, we had to revamp our defense personnel-wise. We just weren't very good that first year, and last year made a big improvement. This year has taken another step so far in that direction, but just comes down to having more depth, I think. We've recruited well on that side of the ball. The guys are bought in and playing extremely hard, which is another good thing, that you got to have. So, we've recruited some better players, and, this game's about personnel. I mean, it's about having, good players. Let's make no mistake about it. When you have good players, it makes you look really smart, and when you struggle in areas and you're not as good as your opponent, then, makes you look not so smart. But Brandon Hall, our defensive coordinator, and our staff, they do a great job each and every week preparing like they always do. And I think the depth and the competition we have on that side of the ball day in and day out in practice has really helped us improve there. And, we're 5 games in, so we still got a ways to go. We're going to play some good offenses. But so far, I've really been excited about the progress we've made on that side of the ball.
And then you've got a Georgia Southern team coming to town that is coming off a 500-yard rushing effort as a team this past week. How does your defense prepare for that? Obviously, one of the better defenses against the run in the nation right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge. I mean, they give you a lot of issues in the run game. We obviously playing those guys every year. They got really good running backs. They got big ones. They got fast ones. They're going to get those guys plenty of opportunities. We got to be really sound in our fits and make sure that we stay where we're supposed to be. There's obviously some eye candy. They make you play disciplined football. I know still run a lot of option. I know they've gone to some gap stuff too, but got to be really sound in what we're doing. Disciplined football, making sure we got somebody on dive quarterback pitch, and then just tackle. These guys they're hard to tackle. We got to make sure we get them to the ground. If we'll continue to do that, I think we'll have a great opportunity, but it's a big challenge for us for sure.
All right. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And we are now joined with Shawn Elliott, the head coach of Georgia State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial star one. When you're done at the time, again, star one to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yes, good afternoon. Our football team's looking to bounce back from a tough opening conference loss to Appalachian State, which is a heck of a fine football team. We played halfway decent through about 3 quarters, and then it just kind of slipped away from us there in the fourth quarter with a couple of interceptions we threw and a couple of fourth down opportunities we tried to go for, and they kind of really pulled away there in the fourth quarter. But we have an opportunity again this Saturday night in Louisiana, Monroe. I believe we're playing at 7 o'clock Central Time, so we're looking forward to getting down there and hopefully playing a lot better as a team. We've got to do some things offensively to get us going. We're kind of in a rut sitting around offensively, and we've got to generate some excitement, some explosive plays, and we've got to do something a little bit different than what we've been doing from an offensive standpoint. I think defensively we've played pretty well, making some plays and keeping most everyone in check for the most part. But we've got to finish games. We can't play 3.5 quarters and not finish the contest defensively or offensively or special teams wise. And right now we haven't achieved all of that. So we've got to work hard, and we've got to do a little bit of soul searching and kind of mend our mental approach. We went through a tough non-conference schedule and then opened up with a great team like Appalachian State, and you're sitting here at 1-4. It's not a feel-good story for no stretch of the imagination, but we will improve. We're going to be a better football team tomorrow than we were today, and we're certainly going to be a better football team come Saturday night at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, to star one to get in the queue. First questions come from Stan Autry with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Just go ahead, Stan.
Hey, Shawn. How you doing?
Hey, Stan. I could be doing better, but I'm pretty good. It's a Monday, and I'm still above ground, so I'm feeling all right.
Still fogging the mirror. That's good to hear.
Yes.
You played 2 quarterbacks last week, and what did you see from each one of those guys? And will you settle on one, or you still have the idea of maybe playing both of them?
Yeah, well, right now, we didn't think we were going to have the opportunity to establish our run game on Saturday. And when I say establish it, I mean to an extent where we could really control the line of scrimmage and just run the football. And Darren's certainly a playmaker on the ground with his legs. He does a lot of good things, and we just felt like Quad gives us an opportunity to push the ball downfield a little bit more with his throwing capability. So we went into the game knowing both of those guys were going to play. We're still going to evaluate things. We're still going to practice, and they're still going to compete. And we're going to make a determination on who gives us the best opportunity to be successful offensively. And then we'll probably settle and go. I'm not a big proponent of playing a 2-quarterback system. I don't think anybody across the country, I know it's been done before, but that's not a situation that I feel like our football team wants to be in. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to compete a little bit, but we're going to have to settle in and find our guy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.